Hello everyone, this is Ari Moshe Wolf of Heart and Soul Centered Astrology. In this video, I'm going to give attention to Mercury in Libra. Over the next several days, the entirety of this week, Mercury first moves to square Jupiter in Cancer, and then opposes Chiron in Aries at the very end of its time in Libra before entering into Scorpio. So we have a very powerful, energizing week with Mercury. I would frame this teaching as clarify your needs. Now, Mercury in Libra, the gift, the beauty of Mercury in Libra is really the ability to apprehend different perspectives and possibilities. That's its gift. It's great if you're a counselor, a consultant, interacting with people, if you have that need to be able to skillfully, collect a lot of data and hear perspectives. What's interesting about Mercury and Libra is we're combining two very strong air archetypes, right? So Mercury, which itself speaks to the endless, infinite possibilities of data, information, perspective, right? And then Libra in particular corresponds to value, personal needs, the exchange of value in relationship. So when you bring it together, there can be this great appreciation and sort of mutability in the mind to just appreciate different ways of looking at things, different perspectives, different methods. Now, the challenge with Mercury and Libra in general is there are too many possibilities and perspectives. So it's like, how do I make a decision? How do I know which way to go? When this person wants one thing, this person thinks this way. Oh, try this, do that. Oh, you should do this. The issue with Libra is it's in general so open-minded and available to get external feedback, but it can be hard to maintain a ground of personal self-truth. You add Mercury to that, the mind can be clouded with too much information, too many perspectives, where it's very sort of emotionally hard to weed out and differentiate what does the other person want? Oh, that's a good idea, and becoming and adopting to that versus what do I actually want? Now, Libra is a very interesting thing because in a way, through the Libra archetype, we can only grow through relationship. We receive feedback and experiences and exchange of energy that helps us grow and learn. We experience new dimensions of our own being in ways that can only happen through relationship. And yet, the opposite end of that is we actually have to be very clear about what kind of relationships we're bringing into our life. Mercury in Libra, we can in theory enter into any kind of conversation, entertain all kinds of ways of being and relating, giving and sharing, where we're not really receiving benefit from our relationships. I saw this meme recently where this woman got out of bed and was speaking to her husband and said, everyone told me that it was a good idea, to live this life that we're living. My pastor, my friends, my family. But I don't know if that's what I actually want. That's the issue with Mercury and Libra. All of these good ideas are in a very air way, rational, objective. They make sense. We can argue for them. And especially if other people are certain of it. Oh, try this, do this, go this way. It's very easy to just be like, oh, okay, sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, let's become that. There can be a lack of ground of self-leadership and discernment, the ability to really know what is true for me, what do I need, and to kind of clarify one's thinking and one's needs and to have clear communication. That's one of the gems of a more awakened Libra expression, especially with Mercury, to be able to bring some agency and clarity of thought. Now, let's look at this square with Jupiter and Cancer. It really emphasizes, this is alive right now, how do I feel? Is it authentic? Am I being authentic to myself? Or to what extent? Think of the Libra Cancer archetype. Do you feel good about me? Are we good, right? Emotional security, stability, feeling safe, feeling affinity. There can be the sense of, as long as everyone and everything is okay, and I'm believe, like Jupiter and Cancer, I don't want to be too alienating or step outside of what's familiar and known, but we can create an emotional inauthenticity by way of not really being honest with ourselves. So we have to really tune into, how do I feel fundamentally, even if that doesn't fit into the perfectly sound logical ideas. Now, something to really understand right now, we have Venus this week moving towards the South Node in Virgo. So Venus and Mercury are actually in mutual reception. This is important to consider. Venus in Virgo is clarifying and refining and sort of fine-tuning our relationships, our agreements. It's on every level. Like, what am I giving? What am I available for? How can I truly be helpful? Clarifying what's guilt, what is me trying to be something that I'm supposed to be, how much of our relationships are defined or conditioned by an underlying inadequacy or an unworthiness that we're trying to compensate for. What are the ways in which control and criticism embeds itself into our relationships or into our own inner self relationship? And just in general, is it workable, right? Are the agreements or arrangements or structures, is everything workable and agreeable and stable and useful in our own life? Or are we creating a situation where we're not really valuing our own worth and dignity? That's a core point of reflection for Venus and Virgo. Now, you look at Mercury and Libra in this mutual reception, it does bring up a lot of nuance, perspectives and ideas, conversations that will be necessary in furthering, clarifying, cleaning up, and refining the integrity and the clarity of our relationships and how our relationships enhance and support our value. It will be necessary to have these conversations, but to also, relative to that square with Jupiter, take the time to really feel, right? Don't just fall into patterns of codependency or just wanting everything to feel good. Take the time to actually feel, how does this feel for me? And to listen, how does this feel for everyone? There's a lot of refinement that's needed in that signature. Now let's look at that opposition to Chiron retrograde in Aries. This is a little bit more vulnerable, okay? This really emphasizes that as we're making these decisions, working out these agreements, clarifying the details, refining, clarifying our own value, how we're giving, how we're sharing, the usefulness of how we're engaging in our relationships, this Chiron in Aries emphasizes we might need to embrace a necessary individuation. What's right for us in our way simply often requires that we walk it alone, that we trust our own instinctual body, that we trust we have to be a leader of our own path and make our own decisions fundamentally. We can't get stuck in making sure that everyone is okay with what we think, what we feel, what we want. Again, relative to the deeper cleansing dimension that Venus and Virgo on the South Node, altogether, this can actually be bringing up the need to be making really clear decisions. And that Chiron in Aries says, yeah, and it might be vulnerable. What is it like to decide for yourself and knowing that others might disapprove or not like it or not want it? It's actually for the next 2 days, the moon is moving to complete a grand cross, so moon in Capricorn. So this is incredibly emphasized right now. We have to really trust ourselves and that this is a movement towards clarity and congruency in our lives within and without, and allowing our relationships to reflect and support that. But if we're afraid of stirring the pot, if we're afraid of doing something new, making a bold choice and being more decisive because of the consequences or how others might feel, we may not come into the clarity that is potential for us at this time. One more point that I want to make. Often with Mercury and Libra, there can be a lot of confusion. I don't know which way to go, all these different perspectives and possibilities. Often the archetype of confusion actually points to a deeper knowing that we're afraid of. What if I trust myself, especially with this Aries, Chiron, Jupiter, and Cancer, my truth, my knowing, my sense of where my path is? That's scary. What if others don't like it? What if they don't approve? What will the consequences be? So there might be a need, and we can really bring in consciously the kind of relational support to help us get there, right? The kind of support that doesn't want to impose its answer, but help us find our own. That's the best thing that Libra can receive. Relationship that's about meeting what we actually individually need. So we can receive the support, but ultimately there might be a need to drop in deeply and ask ourselves, what do I know that I might be afraid of? And to discern the difference between, the fear of being true to ourselves versus, accepting some other idea or thing that isn't true for ourselves. That's a very important distinction to make here. All right, couple announcements. As always, check the description below for all of my services. I want to speak a little bit to my community membership. We had our third monthly gathering just this past Sunday, and each gathering is just so beautiful. I'm going to share in an upcoming video a little snippet. After every single gathering, I create a synopsis where I go over all of the core teachings and the insights that came through the experience. Right? All of these teachings come through a direct human experience, or I'm working with an individual or individuals, looking at their chart, looking at what's really alive. It's a deeply enriching and authentic soul field that I love so much, which is why I'm going to continue doing it. The experience of just being spontaneous without a plan, coming into prayer and inviting whatever is real and alive to bring it forward in a space of trust and to meet it, right? And so the teachings and the interactions are totally spontaneous, and it's always deeply healing. I think everyone gets a lot from it. So I create a little synopsis video after each interaction, kind of going over and grounding, sort of bringing together all of the teachings. And all of those teachings are available for members. And I'm just going to share it with you guys soon, just so you can get a sense of it. I'm also going to be offering a movie watch party. We're going to be watching the movie Wish, and I'm going to share my astrological analysis. There's just so many beautiful teachings in that movie and in many movies. So that's free. Whenever I do those watch parties, that's free for all members, but everyone else will have to pay a price to be a part of that experience. Members also get a very big discount off of all of my products, and on occasion I'll offer various classes and products for absolute free for a particular month. So it's a very beautiful experience. I hope you will check it out. I'm offering the very first month of this membership for free, so you can try it out, a free trial, no obligation necessary, and then after that is a month-to-month subscription. Beyond that, I'm available for sessions, one-on-one, soul-to-soul companionship sessions, my full study training program available as a self-study and a live cohort. And the upcoming EA conference is in October. And up until the very end of this month, I'm offering a discount. You can check that out in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching.